Hi, I'm David DeSteno, professor of psychology at Northeastern University and author of The Truth About Trust. Can I trust you? It's a question we face frequently when we meet somebody new. Can we use body language to help us decide? We thought so, even though there hasn't been any reliable evidence to date. To see, we designed a very simple experiment. We brought strangers into our lab and had them engage in a get-to-know-you chat for 5 minutes. We recorded every movement some of them made using 3 camera angles. And to see if body language does provide information, we also had half of the participants converse over a web-based chat using computers. In that case, the same amount of verbal information would be exchanged, but they wouldn't have access to the nonverbal cues of each other. We then separated participants and told them they were going to play an economic game for real money. Each participant was given 4 tokens that were worth $1 each to him, but $2 to his partner. The goal of the game was to decide how many tokens you wanted to exchange with your partner. You could choose to give nothing, hoping your partner would exchange all, and then you'd end up cheating him out of all of his money. That is, you'd end up with $12, and he'd end up with nothing. If you're trustworthy, though, each of you would exchange all 4 tokens with each other, and then both end up with $8, $4 more than you came in with. In the experiment, we watched to see how many tokens people exchanged and how many they expected to get in return. The more people gave, the more trustworthy they were behaving. Now, as we hoped, the average level of cooperation was the same, whether people conversed in person or over the net. But accuracy in predicting the trustworthiness of a partner was significantly greater if you conversed face-to-face. Here you can see that the absolute error in predicting how many tokens a partner would give was lower for those who were able to see their partner's nonverbal behavior. They were picking up on some cue that gave them insight. We next built models that tied specific gestures to economic behavior. What we found is that a set of 4 specific gestures, when taken together, predicted untrustworthy behavior: hand touching, touching your face, crossing your arms, and leaning away. The more a partner expressed these actions, the less he was trusted. That is, the fewer tokens he was expected to share. And the more a participant herself showed these cues, the fewer tokens she actually did exchange. Now, people had no conscious awareness their minds were using these cues, but they were. But how could we be certain these were the cues that matter? People express many cues simultaneously. Maybe their left eyelid was twitching when they crossed their arm, and that was the cue that really mattered. To know for sure, we needed to control every motion made, and that meant we needed a robot. Meet Nexi, designed by my collaborator Cynthia Brazil at the MIT Media Lab. So we conducted the experiment again. But this time, we had participants talk with Nexi the robot. For half of the participants, Nexi expressed the 4 cues associated with untrustworthiness. For the other half, she expressed more neutral cues. And here's an example of what it looked like for subjects to speak with Nexi.
So, it's probably not like your house, but it's home for me. Why don't you tell me about where you're from?
Well, I was born in Lawrence, Massachusetts. And I have a residency in Somerville right now. I've been living there for the past.
Behind the curtain, Nexi was controlled by several people. One acted as her voice, and the other controlled what movements she would make. Participants then played the same economic game with Nexi and completed some questionnaires. What we found is exactly what we hoped. Those who saw Nexi emit the untrustworthy cues reported that they trusted her less, not that they liked her any less, but that they trusted her less. And the less they trusted her, the fewer tokens they expected her to share with them, and the fewer tokens they themselves gave to her. Besides verifying the cues of untrustworthiness, these findings also suggest that technology has reached the point where our minds are willing to ascribe moral intentions to it if it shows any hint of emotional expression.